August 29, 1958. Gary, Indiana. A small industrial town where steel mills painted the sky gray and dreams were luxuries most couldn't afford. In a cramped two-bedroom house on Jackson Street, Katherine Jackson gave birth to her seventh child. She named him Michael Joseph Jackson. Nobody in that room, not his father Joe, not his mother, not even the universe itself, could have predicted that this child would one day make 100,000 people fall silent simply by standing still. January 31st, 1993, Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl Stadium, Super Bowl XXVII halftime show. Michael Jackson was about to do something no performer had ever attempted before. Not a song, not a dance, something far more dangerous. Absolutely nothing. The stadium lights dimmed. 133 million people watching worldwide held their breath. Then, through the darkness, a single figure shot onto the stage like a bullet. Michael Jackson, dressed in military gold, sunglasses reflecting the roar of the crowd. He landed in position, center stage, one arm raised to the sky, the other bent at his side. And then he froze. 10 seconds passed. The crowd screamed. Michael didn't move. 20 seconds. The cameras circled him like vultures. His chest rose and fell, the only proof he was alive. But his face? Stone. His body? A statue carved from pure electricity. 30 seconds. Panic rippled through the production team backstage. Was he okay? Had something gone wrong? Director Bob Gazale's voice crackled through the headsets. Is he breathing? Someone tell me he's breathing. 40 seconds. The audience began to realize this wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. Michael Jackson, the man who never stopped moving, who turned every inch of stage into a living canvas, was choosing silence, choosing stillness, choosing to make the world wait. 50 seconds. A young girl in the front row fainted. Medics rushed in. Michael still didn't flinch. 60 seconds. 1 full minute. The longest 60 seconds in television history. And then, slowly, so slowly it felt like time itself was bending, Michael turned his head. Just his head. His body remained locked in place. He removed his sunglasses with surgical precision, and the stadium exploded. 90 seconds total. 90 seconds of nothing that became everything. But here's what nobody knew that night. Michael Jackson had planned this moment for months. Not as a gimmick, not as a publicity stunt, as a statement. I wanted them to feel what I feel every day. He later told his choreographer Vincent Patterson in private what it's like to be watched, to be frozen, to have the whole world staring at you, waiting for you to be perfect. Because by 1993, Michael Jackson was no longer a man. He was a phenomenon, a myth, an icon so large that his humanity had been stripped away, layer by layer, year by year, until all that remained was the image, the sequined glove, the moonwalk, the voice that could shatter glass and mend hearts in the same breath. But inside that gold military jacket, beneath the makeup and the mystique, Michael Jackson was suffocating. Let's rewind. 1969. Michael was 11 years old. The Jackson 5 had just signed with Motown Records. Berry Gordy saw something in the young boy. Not just talent, but star power. The kind that could sell millions of records. The kind that could change the music industry forever. But star power comes with a price. Joe Jackson, Michael's father, was a man forged in the fires of poverty and racism. He had dreams for his children. Dreams so big they left no room for childhood. Rehearsals started at dawn. Mistakes were met with belts, fists, words sharper than any blade. You want to be somebody, Joe would shout. Then you don't get to be a kid. And Michael didn't. While other children played outside, Michael practiced dance steps until his feet bled. While other children laughed at cartoons, Michael studied James Brown, Jackie Wilson, Fred Astaire, absorbing their movements like a sponge, perfecting them until they became something entirely his own. By 13, he was a superstar. By 21, he was writing Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You. songs that would define a generation. By 25, he released Thriller, the best-selling album of all time, 70 million copies worldwide, 7 top 10 singles. A music video so revolutionary that MTV, a network that had refused to play black artists, had no choice but to surrender. But success is a predator, and Michael Jackson was its prey. The tabloids called him Wacko Jacko. They mocked his changing appearance, his high voice, his love for children and animals. They turned his kindness into suspicion, his eccentricity into madness. They forgot, or maybe they never cared, that he was human. So on that night in Pasadena, when Michael Jackson stood completely still for 90 seconds, he wasn't performing. He was reclaiming his right to exist on his own terms, reclaiming the power to make the world wait for him, instead of him waiting for the world's approval. When he finally moved, when he ripped into jam with a ferocity that shook the earth, it wasn't just a performance, it was a resurrection. For 90 seconds, Michael Jackson had died, and then he chose to come back to life. The halftime show lasted 12 minutes. In those 12 minutes, Michael delivered Billie Jean, Black or White, and Heal the World, with 3,500 children holding up cards that formed a globe. He reminded America and the world that music wasn't just entertainment. It was unity. It was hope. It was proof that one voice, one body, one soul could move mountains. But when the lights went down and the crowd dispersed, Michael returned to his hotel room alone. No celebration, no champagne, just silence. The same silence he had imposed on 100,000 people, except now it was crushing him. His bodyguard later recalled finding him sitting on the edge of the bed, still in full costume, staring at nothing. "Did they like it?" Michael asked quietly. "Did I do okay?" This was the paradox of Michael Jackson. A man who could command stadiums, who could make the entire planet stop and watch, and yet deep down he was still that little boy in Gary, Indiana, desperate for his father's approval, desperate to be enough. The 1993 Super Bowl halftime show changed the entertainment industry forever. Before Michael, halftime shows were marching bands and cheerleaders. After Michael, they became cultural events. Beyoncé, Prince, Lady Gaga, Shakira, they all walked through the door. Michael kicked open that night. But the cost was Michael himself. In the years that followed, the accusations came, the trials, the exile. The world that had once worshipped him turned on him with the same intensity. And through it all, Michael Jackson kept performing, kept dancing, kept giving everything he had, even when there was nothing left to give. June 25, 2009, Los Angeles. Michael Jackson died at age 50. Cardiac arrest, caused by acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. But the real killer was the machine, the industry, the expectation that Michael Jackson wasn't allowed to be human, because that's what those 90 seconds were really about. A man trying to prove to himself, to the world, that he still existed, that beneath the legend, beneath the icon, there was still a beating heart. And for 90 seconds, the world finally listened.